vote them. And that makes us interested to inhibit these kind of charities, unregulated charities, from giving out by these candidates, only to like driving them out of nowhere. But first of all, let's contextualize this motion. What's the principle of democracy, everyone? In democracy, the one that's chosen should be the one that's going to be a good representative for the country, not the one that has the potential to like implement bad laws and being chosen only because they give charities or in any form, such as like giving people free T-shirts, giving people like coupons to like buy something in the groceries or something like that. And this is going to affect the most vulnerable communities in the group, which will going to be explained later in our arguments. And how does the mechanization would work? First of all, we're gonna simply just make a law that can thoroughly ban these stuff from happening. If there's any of the candidates, any of the representatives is going to do it, then they simply gonna be disqualified from the campaigns. And the president cannot, for example, like the president cannot giving free T-shirts only because his son is going to like being the candidate for the next year. Or representative cannot give a free, something for all because we know that it's one of the form of bribing people or like just as simple as encouraging people to to vote for themselves. While sometimes people knowing that these candidates are not the one that's going to do good in the country. And in our side of the house, charities exist with the regulation from the government itself. For example, like we have BLT during the coronavirus pandemic, right? And these are the form of charities that can reach people more thoroughly. And like that's why we don't need charities from these people unregulatedly. Political parties, knowing that we already provide something that is doing more good in our side of the house. And moving on to our arguments. First, it harms the most vulnerable actors or the marginalized communities. How's the process looks like, everyone? I'm a president or a representative. I'm giving free charity, for example, like free T-shirts, basic needs, or as simple as like stickers being sampled in like people's cars, people's stores, or something like that. I don't explicitly that I want them to vote me or but I encourage them to vote for me, and I expect that they're gonna think that I'm the best representation. Well, sometimes like these people are not the one who's gonna be the best candidate for the country. And how is this gonna impact the people, everyone? This charity campaign impacts the most vulnerable actors. For example, like the underwage people with the most working hours, but reaching. But only get like the most under the most low wage in the society. And why is this so harmful for the people? These people usually are uneducated. Notice how most people in Indonesia are like some of them are still uneducated, and they wouldn't have the privilege as like the people to determine whether that representative is good or not, because education hasn't reached them into the point where they could determine it in the right way. And this leads these people to vote for the wrong candidate, and this is so bad for not only for themselves but also for the country thoroughly. They can implement high tax for the poor. I mean, like the candidates that's been chosen only because they give these people some kind of incentives. They don't care about education while they need it or something like that, and it's gonna do so many harms for these marginalized group of people. Sometimes while their basic needs hasn't even been covered by the government. And yeah. Secondly, if they vote against their own interests, it's going to do more harm than good for them. Their votes impact the whole country, right? Indonesia. Most people in our country is still underwage, is still uneducated from the perspective of global standard. I'm talking about, but I'm talking about the global standards, which most of us are still underwage. Most of us are still uneducated. Some of us really cannot decide which government, which representative is good for us. And if we give these people such incentives, they're gonna think that, oh, you're the best candidate. Oh, you're the god. You can give me everything only because they're giving us, like some kind of free T-shirt or something like that. And it's just weird, honestly. And second argument, it undermines democracy. First of all, democracy means that we can choose a candidate, but that we think is the best for us. We can do it freely. And by giving these people such free charity, sometimes these people feel forced to vote for the candidate that they know sometimes it's gonna harm them or simply just ineligible for them to rule the country. Because they're having like bad stigma in the society, but like they feel like this sense of guilt. If I'm not gonna vote him, then I'm a bad person because he already gave me something. That means that I should vote him. No, that's something that's More importantly, because this exists, no matter how good a representative or someone in a political area feel, no matter how well their policies are in the government, or no matter how good they implement any laws in the country, would somehow be beaten, be got lost from the one who has more money and more access to giving people the charity only because they can give it. They will overrun the country, overrun the stigma. They're gonna be the one that the people think that they're better than these people who's actually doing good in the government. And what's the impact, everyone? It prevents this country from actually improving. Democracy won't happen because people don't feel the sense of freedom to choose what they want to choose. And government would turn into this tyrannical government that only focuses the needs of the rich. Simply, our nation won't grow. The people with actual good policies wouldn't get sold, like what I've mentioned before, and it inhibits the country from improving democracy, which is still very low in our country because there's still so many uncertain policies that it's still doing so many harms to the democracy standards. And what is important, everyone? Indonesia is a democracy country. We all kind of know that, right? At least we should try something that's gonna be positive improvement to implement the democracy from the very root. For example, providing fair voting for everyone. And one of the forms of providing fair voting for everyone is by inhibit these candidates that have potential to implement such bad policies from giving some incentives for the people, some charities from unregulated. And secondly, Indonesia is still stuck in the poverty line. Rather than giving people charity for political campaigns, why not just donate it to the government? And the government will spread it thoroughly throughout the country. And we've mentioned it, we have BLT during the coronavirus, and it's it was so much better for the people because it reaches almost every part of the country. And instead of giving these charities unregulated way, that's gonna make people think undemocratically. It's gonna make the government itself to overrun by these people who only thinks the need of themselves, the rich people. While sometimes while the country itself, Indonesia in this motion, actually we still have so many people to think about, and they're not the only ones who need it. And and we don't think that giving these charities will impact them in any progressive way, because we already have this form of charities in a regulated way, and charities is not something that our marginalized group of people in this country, Indonesia, needs. So that way, our side would like to propose. Thank you.